The numbers don't lie, and they just exposed Angel Reese in the most brutal way possible. Fresh stats reveal Reese ranks dead last in shooting efficiency among all relevant WNBA players, a shocking 30th place with a dismal 46.4% true shooting percentage. Meanwhile, rookie rival Caitlin Clark sits comfortably at 6th place with an elite 58.3%. Reese's reaction: total meltdown. The basketball world is ablaze with these devastating efficiency rankings that could permanently damage Reese's career trajectory. The most fundamental skill in basketball has become her biggest weakness. Welcome back, Hoops Nation. Today we're breaking down something that has the entire WNBA community in absolute shambles. The shooting efficiency numbers just dropped, and they've painted a picture so clear it's impossible to ignore, especially when it comes to Angel Reese. Let's get straight to the heart of this bombshell. True shooting percentage. It's not just another stat, it's the stat that separates the elite from the average in professional basketball. This metric takes into account field goals, three-pointers, and free throws to give us the most complete picture of a player's scoring efficiency, and the latest numbers have sent shockwaves through the league. That's her right there, and then she drives in and she proceeds to miss shot after shot after shot underneath the rim. I mean, it's some damnedest thing anybody has ever seen. Caitlin Clark, in her rookie season with the Indiana Fever, has posted a true shooting percentage of 58.3%. That puts her at 6th place among all WNBA players. 6th, as a rookie. Let that sink in for a moment. Now for the jaw-dropper. Angel Reese, who entered the league with similar fanfare and expectations, sits at 30th place with a true shooting percentage of just 46.4%, dead last among relevant players in the league. The gap between these two rookies isn't just noticeable, it's a massive chasm that speaks volumes about their development trajectories. This isn't just some random statistic, folks. In professional basketball, shooting efficiency often determines whether you're a starter or riding the bench. It's like comparing a laser-guided missile to a blindfolded throw. One consistently hits its target, the other is all over the place. For context, let's look at where Clark stands in relation to the league's established stars. She's keeping company with Jonquel Jones, Brittany Griner, and Aja Wilson, multiple-time All-Stars and league MVPs. These are players who have spent years perfecting their craft, yet Clark is right there with them as a rookie. It's nothing short of remarkable. Clark's shooting profile is comprehensive and impressive. From beyond the arc, she's hitting 33.9% of her three-point attempts, ranking 13th in the league. From mid-range and inside games are equally effective. She ranks 4th in two-point field goal percentage at 53.7%. Perhaps most impressively, she's 2nd in free throw shooting with a remarkable 90.9% success rate. When you're automatic from the line like that, you're giving your team free points night after night. The most stunning aspect of Clark's efficiency is that she's achieving these numbers while carrying a massive offensive load. Most efficient shooters in the WNBA are role players who take only wide-open shots created by others. Clark, meanwhile, creates her own shots against focused defenses that are specifically designed to stop her, yet she still maintains elite efficiency numbers across the board. Think about that for a second. Every team Clark faces has a specific game plan aimed at limiting her impact. Defenders are instructed to stay glued to her from the moment she crosses half court. Despite this constant attention, she's shooting like a veteran who's been in the league for years. What makes Clark's three-point threat so impactful is how it creates a ripple effect throughout her entire offensive arsenal. When defenders rush out to contest her long-range shots, she doesn't panic. Instead, she's developed an elite mid-range and inside finishing game that punishes over-eager defenders. This versatility allows her to counter whatever defensive strategy teams throw at her. We saw this in action against the Mercury, where Clark faced double teams throughout the fourth quarter, yet still managed to hit critical shots when pressed to the corner, showcasing her poise under pressure. Her 90.9% mark from the free throw line makes her deadly in clutch situations when games hang in the balance, giving her team a psychological edge in tight fourth-quarter scenarios. The historical context makes this even more impressive. The WNBA has seen plenty of talented rookies who needed time to adjust to the increased speed and physicality of the pro game. Most first-year players see their shooting percentages drop significantly from their college numbers as they adapt. Clark is doing the opposite. Players like Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston were considered shooting specialists entering the league, yet Clark outperforms them across multiple efficiency categories. While most rookies excel in one area, Clark dominates from multiple spots: three-point range, mid-range, at the rim and the free throw line. Now let's shift our focus to Angel Reese, because the contrast couldn't be more stark or concerning. The most baffling aspect of Reese's performance is how a 6'3" physical specimen with elite wingspan struggles so dramatically with the most fundamental aspect of basketball, putting the ball in the hoop. The numbers tell a devastating story. Despite towering over many defenders, Reese ranks dead last in finishing efficiency within 5 feet of the basket, shooting just 40% from point-blank range. This represents a career-threatening issue that demands immediate attention. Watch her race to the rim only to crumble under pressure, and it's genuinely puzzling to basketball experts. Her game film reveals consistent technical flaws. She rushes shots around the rim, fails to use the backboard properly, and doesn't create enough separation before attempting to score. These are fundamental techniques that most players master long before reaching the professional level. The situation becomes even more concerning because Reese lacks alternative offensive weapons. Her entire offensive value is tied to her ability to convert close-range opportunities. When your only reliable scoring option becomes unreliable, coaches start making tough decisions about playing time. As one analyst bluntly put it, a good coach is going to look at this and say, "You're 6'3", you're too damn inefficient, I can't have you on the court." That's the harsh reality of professional basketball. Efficiency determines your role, and when a player's shooting becomes a liability, teams simply can't afford to keep them on the floor in crucial moments. What makes this situation particularly alarming is that we're seeing a pattern, not a temporary adjustment period. Through a substantial sample size, Reese displays consistent problems with the same shooting mechanics, pointing to deep-rooted technical issues. The lack of videos showing Reese working specifically on layup techniques raises additional concerns about her development focus. The contrast with elite post players makes this deficiency glaring. When Ja Wilson and Brittany Griner convert similar shots at rates above 60%, it highlights just how unusual Reese's struggles truly are for someone with her physical tools. This performance gap can't be explained away by defensive attention or system differences. It's a fundamental skill issue. Reese's true shooting percentage of 46.4% isn't just below average, it's staggeringly inefficient. Her effective field goal percentage is even worse at 39.5%. For context, effective field goal percentage adjusts for the fact that 3-point field goals are worth more than 2-point field goals. Even by this measure, which should benefit players who don't take many threes, Reese's numbers are abysmal. From the free throw line, often a reliable scoring source for bigs, she landed 27th in the league. Considering most of Reese's shots come from close to the rim, these numbers are hard to justify. With her height advantage and wingspan, she should be converting at a much higher rate on these high percentage opportunities. The gap between players like Ja Wilson, Brittany Griner, and Angel Reese isn't just statistical, it's reshaping reputations across the WNBA. When these efficiency rankings dropped, the narrative around Caitlin Clark and Reese flipped overnight. Clark's shooting has made her a rising star with legitimate all-star potential, while Reese faces the biggest challenge of her young career. Despite having similar physical tools to Wilson and Griner, Reese's low production raises real questions about her growth trajectory. Perception in professional sports shifts fast. Just months ago, no one was having these debates. Now fans, coaches, and analysts are rethinking both rookies in real time thanks to these efficiency numbers. The conversation once centered on different playing styles and personalities, but that storyline has vanished. Clark is now recognized as an elite offensive weapon who elevates her entire team, while Reese faces critical questions about fundamental aspects of her game. So what are we really learning from all this? The shooting numbers tell a story that can't be ignored. Reese is struggling where she should dominate. For a post player, shooting efficiency is the core requirement of the position. when bigs like Griner and Wilson are converting at astronomical rates compared to Reese's numbers. WNBA coaches make tough decisions based on production, not potential. This isn't about style points or even versatility. It's about putting the ball in the basket consistently. The fundamental skill that determines playing time at the professional level. Will Reese overcome this efficiency crisis, or is her starting role already in jeopardy? That's the question being asked in WNBA circles right now. Experts agree. Reese needs to focus on mastering her fundamentals before anything else. The good news is that shooting is a skill that can be improved with dedicated work. The concerning news is that these issues often stem from years of ingrained habits that can be difficult to break, especially under the bright lights and pressure of professional basketball. What makes this situation particularly interesting is how it challenges the pre-draft narratives about both players. Clark was known for her shooting and playmaking, but questions existed about how her game would translate against the increased physicality of the WNBA. Reese, with her rebounding prowess and physical presence, was expected to have a more seamless transition. Instead, we're seeing the opposite scenario play out. Clark's skill-based game has translated beautifully to the pro level, while Reese's physical advantages haven't yielded the efficient production many expected. This serves as a reminder that basketball fundamentals, shooting, ball handling, footwork, often trump pure physical gifts at the highest levels of competition. The shooting efficiency gap between Clark and Reese also highlights how differently their rookie seasons are unfolding. Clark has already established herself as one of the league's premier offensive threats, capable of scoring efficiently from anywhere on the court. Reese, despite her double-double production, finds herself struggling with the most basic scoring opportunities. This efficiency disparity didn't happen in a vacuum. Clark's shooting mechanics have been refined through years of dedicated practice, with a focus on technique rather than results. Her form is consistent, repeatable, and holds up under pressure. Reese's approach around the basket often appears rushed and mechanical, leading to missed opportunities that should be automatic for someone with her physical advantages. The irony in all this is that entering the WNBA, much was made about how Reese's game was more pro-ready due to her physicality and rebounding. 6 months into their professional careers, it's Clark's skill-based approach that has proven more adaptable to the WNBA style of play. For Reese, this efficiency crisis represents a critical juncture in her development. How she responds will likely determine her trajectory in the league. Will she dedicate herself to mastering the fundamentals of finishing around the rim, or will she continue to rely on her rebounding and defense to justify her minutes? The path forward isn't complicated, but it requires humility and focused work. Reese needs to break down her shooting form around the basket, working with shooting coaches to develop more consistent mechanics. She needs to study film of efficient post players like Wilson and Griner, noting how they create space and use the backboard effectively. Most importantly, she needs to acknowledge that this is a legitimate issue that requires immediate attention. In professional sports, ignoring fundamental weaknesses doesn't make them disappear. It only gives opponents a clear blueprint for how to defend you. For Clark, these efficiency numbers validate what many have already observed. She's not just a flashy passer or high-volume scorer. She's an elite, efficient offensive weapon who makes the right basketball play consistently. Her shooting efficiency at multiple levels creates gravity that opens opportunities for her teammates, making her impact even greater than her individual numbers suggest. The contrasting trajectories of these two high-profile rookies highlight an eternal truth in basketball. Shooting efficiency ultimately determines your value at the professional level. You can rebound, defend, and pass at an elite level, but if you can't put the ball in the basket efficiently, your ceiling is limited. This isn't to suggest that Reese can't overcome these challenges. The history of basketball is filled with players who transform their games through dedicated work, but the first step is acknowledging the problem, and these efficiency numbers make the issue impossible to ignore. What's particularly concerning for Reese is that shooting woes tend to become mental as much as mechanical. As a player continues to struggle, hesitation creeps in, leading to even more missed opportunities. Breaking this cycle requires not just physical repetition, but mental fortitude. For Chicago Sky fans, these numbers should raise legitimate concerns about Reese's development trajectory. While her rebounding has translated well to the professional level, her scoring and efficiency limits how much the team can rely on her in crucial situations. In close games, coaches simply can't afford to have players on the floor who can't convert high-percentage opportunities. The contrast in efficiency also highlights the different offensive roles these rookies play for their teams. Clark is often the primary initiator and finisher for Indiana, creating shots for herself and others. Despite this high-usage role, she maintains elite efficiency. Reese, who primarily functions as a finisher of plays others create, should theoretically have higher efficiency given the nature of her opportunities. What's next for both players? For Clark, the challenge will be maintaining this efficiency as teams continue to adapt their defensive strategies against her. For Reese, it's about fundamentally reshaping her approach to finishing around the basket, developing touch and technique to match her physical tools. The shooting efficiency gap between Clark and Reese serves as a reminder of what truly matters at the professional level. Highlight plays and social media presence might generate buzz, but in the crucible of professional competition, your ability to consistently and efficiently put the ball in the basket ultimately determines your value. The numbers have spoken, and Angel Reese's shooting crisis can't be ignored any longer. A 33-ranked true shooting percentage as a 6'3" post player, that's career-threatening territory. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark silently climbs to elite status with that 6th-ranked 58.3% efficiency. Will Reese fix these fundamental flaws, or will this shooting disaster permanently define her career? Drop your thoughts in the comments.